see a masculine person do. The thing with prostitutes is, and this is what I've learned, is that they have their sugar daddies or whatever, and that's actually a real thing. Like, there are actually pimps out there who go and collect prostitutes, and those prostitutes work for them, and they make money for them, and it's not necessarily going to the prostitute herself. So as long as they are profiting, I don't want to say financially, but personally, if they know where they stand and they are okay with being there, then I suppose that there's nothing wrong with that. They don't exactly put out a great image. It's not something that I would want somebody to look at me and think, oh, she's a prostitute, or she's a stripper, because of something that other people in my gender have done. So, but I think that just goes along with the fact that people will judge, and they will make their own calls as far as you and what you wear and what you do. But I'm just not going to let that affect me. The things that men could get away with saying to women 30 years ago are totally different than what they could get away with saying today, because there are so many more people just aware of the feminism movement, or what's respectful and what isn't. So I think our society is growing. I feel actually kind of bad for men, and I have my entire life for this, because we get to decorate our faces and do things with our hair, and we can wear pants or skirt or dress, and nobody will discriminate typically. And men just they have like this very limited wardrobe, this very limited thing that they're allowed to do with their hair and their face. They can't decorate it, or else they're frowned upon, and that's actually something that I feel badly for them about. About 7th grade, I think I had a friend of mine, Jessica, who really wanted to join the football team, and actually I was there when she walked up to Coach Krause and was like, "Coach Krause, when can I join?" And he said, "Oh, I don't have girls on my football team." And that's just silly to me. We have girls in our military right now. I mean, we can clearly overcome the whole locker room issue. It's something that, I can't wait till it's over, because I don't want to raise kids in a world where something like that matters, something like that's going to hold you back from what you really want to do.
I think the biggest misconception of Muslims would be that we are all violent and extremely fundamental people. I believe that to be a Christian, you have to accept Christ as the Son of God, and eventually, consequentially, God himself, and I don't see eye to eye with that. Actually, Islam is actually a branch of monotheism, whereas, so basically, this Yahweh that Judaism speaks of, and God that Christians speak of, and Allah that Muslims speak of, is all the same God. Personally, just as an individual myself, I've always been really interested in theology and learning about other religions. So I'm extremely tolerant for other religions, including like Wicca and Scientology, like you mentioned before, and even agnosticism and atheism. I keep an open mind to that, because I would like people to keep an open mind about my religion, so I keep an open mind about their religion. In Islam, actually, Islam was the first religion that actually set standards for women that made them equal to men, like where women could vote, they could have custody of the children, they could actually even ask for a divorce as well. So I mean, in Islam, women are considered equal to men. It's just the cultural aspects of the Middle East, and oftentimes people don't like to admit it, but culture can be stronger than religion, and it's more the cultural aspects that make women a little bit less important as men. I mean, when people hear I'm a Muslim, they automatically think that my parents are extremely strict, where they don't want me going out at all, or they want me to cover my hair. And so I mean, I think that people definitely have a misconception thinking that all Muslims are extremely conservative. I think, well, in the Quran it is stated that a woman should only show her face and hands and feet when she is in company that is not family, for modesty's sake. And so most women should just wear a head covering and a long sleeve shirt and pants that fall to the ankles. And the burqa is definitely cultural. Covering your face is also a cultural aspect, definitely. It does allow polygamy, but unlike Judaism and Christianity, it actually puts a limit on polygamy as well, and certain rules for polygamy. A man is only allowed to have 4 wives, up to 4 wives, and it does set a lot of standards as well. A Shiite Muslim believes that Prophet Muhammad was not the final prophet, that he had a nephew who carried on the responsibility of teaching about Islam, whereas Sunnis believe that Muhammad was the last prophet because he did not have a son.
I did it, or I started 3 years ago on New Year's Day. I just wanted to see if I could do it. I think that there are so many stereotypes when it comes to being a vegetarian. You know, when most people think vegetarian, they see, you know, skinny redhead sitting at a salad bar with her PETA striped messenger bag, and that's just, you know, that's not true. I've seen so many people to the contrary. You know, I've seen heavier set vegetarians. I've seen you know, people who are Republican and vegetarian. You know, I've seen people who are doing it just for health benefits and health reasons and stuff like that. So I think while it's not necessarily unflattering the way that we're presented in the media, it's not necessarily true either. I think it's just important to show the diversity because, like I was saying, you know, there's so many types to the contrary of what everybody's thinking when they think vegetarian, and especially as far as, you know, the whole PETA movement goes, and, you know, their activism and stuff like that. Some things that they do are, in my opinion, just a little bit too extreme, and a lot of vegetarians feel that way, and not as many as people think support that. So I think that it's just important to show the two different sides and the type of vegetarian that's not so aggressive. Well, when I very first, actually even before I started vegetarianism, I went to their website and I signed up so that they would send me emails, and I watched some of their videos, and it was a motivating factor, of course, because you don't want to be part of what you're seeing on those videos, you know, the slaughter and the abuse and stuff like that. But as far as, you know, the things that they do in protest, like the whole throwing blood on fur coats and stuff like that, it's just not something that I would ever participate in personally. So I still get their emails and stuff like that, and I still keep up with what's going on with, you know, animal treatment and stuff like that, and I think everybody should do that, but I'm not necessarily involved with them. Well, I'm not in denial. I know that I live in a world where pretty much everybody eats meat and loves it and could not live without it. So, but my personal opinion on that matter is that, you know, we lived in a world a while ago where you had to hunt and you had to, you know, kill an animal so that your family could survive, and that is totally understandable, it's totally acceptable, it's totally okay. Today we don't live in that world anymore. You don't need that animal meat, and I think that things would be a lot more peaceful between, this is going to sound really fruity, but between, you know, animals and humans, if we could just, you know, take what we need as opposed to what we want.
I believe that the opposition to tolerance is often overlooked because it's not like, you know, a member of the KKK or, you know, somebody who's just a racist, but it's actually just people, everyday people who just, you know, make the wrong kind of assumption. That prevents tolerance and learning about other cultures, because you can only learn from other cultures if you take time to listen to them.
There are some programs in place nowadays that weren't there like 20 years ago that a lot of these people who are unemployed did not have. And I'm not saying it's making small improvements, but we really have to work on just evening it out, making sure that everybody gets the equal opportunities that they deserve. It brings people who are like any different section of Christianity. It brings them together, but it separates them at the same time from people who are like Hindu, people who are like Buddhist. A lot of people don't really know the problem. They don't really care about the problem because it doesn't directly influence them.
Everyone's changing. People are becoming more used to everybody else. Like, even the Palestinian-Israeli conflict, they still have like these stories of children growing up together being Palestinian and Israeli, and they come together and they're changing.
Sadly, I believe that religion should unite everybody. It really should. I feel like the majority of the time, religion it preaches positivity and good actions and all sorts of ideas like that. But sadly, religion has over the years divided human beings, and I think it's a shame to see that.
You see all the time, like in today's culture, like people who are liberal going after people who are conservative because they have like completely opposite views, and actually the two different politics flip-flop all the time because they're just going after whoever they can pick up to support their cause.
I think that wealth can make somebody an other instead of another neighbor, friend, it's another person who is just not in the same kind of financial situation as you.
People have something to believe in and something to work towards. It can unite an entire nation. It can eventually unite an entire world. And I just hope that one day everybody's on the same page. I think that that idea is big enough and strong enough that everybody will unite and everybody will be together on that eventually at some point.
I think it's going to be just time. Because we're short in the distance, because we have the internet nowadays, we can express ideas that they're gonna, like, other people are gonna find accepting. They're gonna understand them because they're gonna have similar beliefs. And I think the internet definitely promotes that. I think we're gonna have better forms of transportation, which are also gonna promote that, because we can now go visit somebody in a foreign land in less time than it took. Because before it was like, back in like 1700s, you had to like go across an ocean on a ship, take a horse, and that time frame was like, that was months to years. Now we can get there in hours and days.
I really hope that there will be a more accepting world where we won't be divided based on countries and regions and accents and dialects, that we'll all learn to coexist together and work together.
I want everybody to be aware of how everybody else feels and how everybody else stands on the issue, so that they can, educate themselves as well as, educate the people that they're going to be preaching to.
I think eventually, not like within 100 years, not within 200 years, but I think like within thousands of years, we're going to get to the point where we are going to be all-inclusive, where we're all genuinely the same.
This is going to sound kind of bad because of the way I believe our education system has been working ever since the Cold War. But I believe that, socialism and the purest form of communism can actually achieve an egalitarian society where everybody is equal, everybody's treated the same, not based on how much money they make, how much land they own, or what they do for a living, but based on we're all human beings living under one society, and that we should all work together to make this a better place to live in.